Hey everyone, my name is Meera. Welcome back to my channel. This is the third and the last part of my Lock the Box sale unboxing. I have barely opened this third box and I'm already feeling secondhand FOMO from all the people who are visiting the Hyderabad offline sale. Like, I can see it on Bookchore's Insta stories, how so many people are there in that room full of books. They're browsing different collections and genres and grabbing these books as they go. Meera, focus. You have a box to unbox. Once again, if you have no clue what this sale is about, and if you're new on my channel, thank you for stopping by. I'm going to link a couple of videos in the description and in the cards for you to go watch so that you can have the whole experience and so you can be armed with all the information to make the most of this sale if it ever comes to your state. Because believe me, from the first and the second box, I've had such a great experience. They've all been great titles in almost near perfect condition, and so many of them have been bestsellers. A big thanks to Bookchore for organizing this online sale, because those of us who've been staying home for the past year could still, benefit from it and get some great titles at dirt cheap prices. So without any further ado, let me open the third box. First, there are these two bookmarks. Bookchore always ensures to include these in their boxes. Impossible is Just an Opinion by Paulo Coelho, and the other one's a cute one with dogs in it. The first book I see here is The Book of Tomorrow by Cecilia Ahern. I've already read this book, but I wanted a copy for myself because it's so magical and mesmerizing. I remember how this was one of the earlier books I had read in high school, and it just affirmed my faith in the power of books and just how wonderful stories can be. This is a women's fiction with elements of magical realism in it. Tamara is the main character who one day encounters a traveling library, and in that library she sees a mysterious leather-bound book which has a padlock, and this book literally transforms her life. The book really, that is this book, this explores the question of how your tomorrow could possibly change your today, and all in all, it's a wonderfully enchanting read. I haven't read any of Cecilia Ahern's other works, but this book in itself is enough for me to vouch for her writing. You will just be so happy by the end of it. So read it. I highly recommend it. I see that the pages are a little folded, a little torn, which is not the best, but it's okay. The second book is Othello by William Shakespeare. This is one of Shakespeare's most popular plays, in which a couple, Othello and Desdemona, they elope because they're just that much in love. But their marriage ends in jealousy and in violence. The synopsis mentioned that there are deaths, and Shakespeare's writing courses through the streets of Venice and then moves to the islands of Cyprus. So in terms of backdrops, I think we're going to get to see a lot of interesting locations. Next, A Handful of Dust by Evelyn Waugh. It has been a while since I read something from British literature. This is a satire about a group in society who are extremely wealthy, but they don't have much else to their name. There's a married couple in the story, and it also tells us about how they split apart, and the wife, that is the former wife, she finds solace and happiness in someone else. It's a really short read, but considering that it's a classic, I don't know if it's going to be smooth sailing or if I'm going to wish that I don't DNF it. The fourth book is The Year of the Flood by Margaret Atwood. This is the second book in the MaddAddam trilogy, and as I mentioned in my previous video, this box actually has quite a few Margaret Atwood titles. This is a science fiction dystopian novel. There's a lot of layered world building in it, which is what I gathered from the synopsis. There's been a natural disaster on Earth, and the species on Earth are changing. Only 2 people seem to have survived, and so I think it's about how they navigate that entire post-apocalyptic situation. There's adventure in it, and what really intrigues me and makes me excited is that both of these books in the MaddAddam trilogy, their synopsis has just so much depth in it. There's so much to absorb. I'm looking forward to it, and I don't think The Year of the Flood is connected to what happens in Oryx and Crake. I mean, I could be wrong, but from the synopsis I couldn't really make any kind of connections or similarities. The world building seemed different, the characters seemed different. So we're gonna see how things pan out. Next, Cat's Eye by Margaret Atwood. This is a coming of age story in which we read about a character named Elaine, who's a controversial painter. She goes back to her childhood home in Toronto, and the story explores topics like friendship, childhood in depth. The book is in really good condition. Oh wait, someone's made notes on the last page, which is always fun. They mentioned something parallel time through memories, childhood from adult and child's perspective, growing up, paintings, use of colors in descriptions of moods and things, influence of others, power and domination, death as a recurrent theme. Oh, that's interesting. So whoever read this last has jotted down some points that helps me understand what the book's gonna be like. The next book is The Glass Palace by Amitav Ghosh. This is an Indian historical fiction which is set in Burma during the British invasion of 1800s. When the Burmese royal family get exiled, the protagonist of the book, Rajkumar, he befriends a woman who works at the court of the Burmese queen. And later on, as years pass, I think they get separated and he goes back looking for her. There seems to be a lot of socio-political elements in the book as well, about how the atmosphere during those years was full of chaos and there was a lot of disturbance to life. After having read Vikram Seth's A Suitable Boy, I am more interested in picking up such titles. So I think there are a couple more books by Seth and by Amitav Ghosh that I am interested in picking up, but baby steps. I'm taking baby steps. The next book is a hardcover of The Carpet Weaver by Nemat Sadat. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. This is a YA contemporary novel which is set in Afghanistan during 1977. The son of a carpet seller falls in love with his friend, and they soon realize that Afghanistan during that time was not a place that would be welcoming to homosexual individuals. So the protagonist makes his way through Afghanistan, Pakistan, and finally reaches US, looking for a life, looking for a space that would give him love and let him be who he is. I've read a lot of reviews of The Carpet Weaver and have been wanting to pick it up for a while. On the back it says, this is a book very akin to The Kite Runner meets Brokeback Mountain in a powerful tale of love and redemption. I vaguely recall reading The Kite Runner for college, but don't really remember a lot about it. Meaning to say, it's time I revisit Khaled Hosseini's books, but I can get the idea that this is going to be a heartfelt novel which is just full of love and strength, and that's something everyone could use a lot more of. So yeah. The next book is also quite a ginormous title. It is The Robber Bride by Margaret Atwood. This is inspired by the tale The Robber Bridegroom from the Brothers Grimm. In it, there's an evil groom who lures three maidens. So what Margaret Atwood has done is that she's reimagined that tale, that classic tale, and positioned a female character as the villainess. If you've read this one, then please do let me know your thoughts about it. As usual, I've just been building my Margaret Atwood collection, and I'm hoping that this book doesn't disappoint. Oh, I see that it's the winner of the 2000 Booker Prize, which is fantastic. On the back it says, Xenia is beautiful, smart and greedy, by turns manipulative and vulnerable, needy and ruthless, a man's dream and a woman's nightmare. She's also dead. Oh. Should I drop everything I'm doing and pick this up? That's saying something, isn't it? Margaret Atwood, you never fail to impress me with your thought process and your genius imagination. Next, The Garden of Evening Mists by Tan Tuan Eng. This is a Japanese historical fiction set in Malaya during 1949. The main character, Yuan Ling, she meets Aritomo, who was the exiled gardener of the Japanese emperor. This book, while exploring the presence of socio-political disturbances and war, helps us understand, in fact shows us how Yonling grows more and more intrigued by Aritomo's persona, because there's something very mysterious about him. This book was recommended to me by Khyati, so when I saw it on the app, on the Lock the Box app, I picked it up immediately. Next, Hippie by Paulo Coelho. This is said to be an autobiographical book about a generation that challenged social norms and living conditions and wanted to do things on their own terms. Travel is a predominant theme throughout the book. The narrator goes in search of freedom and to understand the meaning of life, and ultimately ends up in Amsterdam. The book has a lot to do with the hippie culture, which has always been something I'm intrigued by and wanting to read up more on. So this seemed like the perfect opportunity to deep dive into that topic and get a better understanding from someone who's experienced it themselves. The hardcover in itself is not in like poor condition or anything. It's just the dust jacket that has suffered some wear and tear. There's a couple of rips here and there, but at this point I'm just glad that I've gotten physical copies of all these books. Next is Madame Kroll's Ghost. This is a classic novel which has a bunch of horror short stories in it. The font is actually really tiny, but that's okay. I just hope that it has some level of spook in it. In my recent experience, ghost stories that I've read have not really been ghostly at all, and so I just miss that. I miss the essence of a good spooky horror ghost story, something that just leaves you with goosebumps and looking at corners at night. That's what I'm expecting from this. Then there's Ghosts by M.R. James. This is one of the vintage minis, and it has, I think, 5 to 6 stories set in late 1800s, and there's a lot of solving of mysteries that occurs across these stories. From the reviews that I read about this book, I got the feeling that the stories are set at atmospheric locations, so that's probably something to look forward to. The book in itself is actually really dirty. Did someone eat food with it? Really, like, how does this happen? After that, I see Armies of Hanuman by Ashok K. Banker. I've previously read Ashok K. Banker's books and always had a really good experience. This is the 4th book in the Ramayana series, and in this book we read how Ram seems to think that the war is over and he's looking forward to some time of peace, but that's far from the case. Surpanakha, angered, goes to Lanka and revives Ravana. The two of them concoct a devious plan to cause chaos and put a stop to Ram's progress. This is quite an old copy considering the condition that it is in. Next, Odd and the Frost Giants by Neil Gaiman. I was so surprised to find this book on the app that I immediately grabbed it, because I mean, seriously, you are giving us a Neil Gaiman book at a sale? In the story, winter isn't getting over, which at this point sounds heavenly. Bangalore is a legit oven. Okay, so getting back to the book. But winter isn't getting over, and Odd, a little boy, has run away from home. Now it falls on him to save Asgard, a city of Norse gods. This book is so short, and oh, the font is huge and there are illustrations in it. It shouldn't take me more than 30 minutes to get through the book. But then again, it is a middle grade fantasy, so I guess the story is a little simplified. Next, Rave by Irvine Welsh. This is a story that has something to do with a utopian dream, and it features the Scottish clubland. That's pretty much what I understood from the synopsis. But why I picked it up is I'm always interested in exploring the writings of different authors and to see how they really approach everyday topics and what their thoughts are like. Something about Scottish culture just appealed to me, so I decided to get it. Then there's Temporary People by Deepak Unnikrishnan. This is a collection of short stories that has elements of magical realism in it as well as contemporary stories. It has 28 interconnected stories which feature people living in UAE, and I think the book and the stories seek to unveil the realities of guest workers working in the Gulf and how really it's been glorified, but there's a lot to it that doesn't really meet the eye to the commoner. When I read the synopsis, it really reminded me of Goat Days by Benjamin. If you don't know what I'm referring to, then take a look at the cards, because I'll be linking my review of this book, which is one of my all-time favorites, and it's highly recommended if you love heart-rending stories. Next, Chocolat by Joanne Harris. This has elements of magical realism in it. It is set in south of France. There's a town where the main character Vianne arrives with her chocolate shop, but there's a lot more to her business, because with every box of chocolates that she sells, she's able to glimpse the lives of her customers. Is she a witch? We don't know yet. There's a chocolate festival that is woven as one of the plot points in the story. From the synopsis, I got the feeling that this was going to be a very fulfilling story, not just because it's a historical fiction, but also because it has such a unique and different premise. The second last book from this box is The Ship of Brides by Jojo Moyes. This is a historical romance that is set in the post-World War II era. Women who had married soldiers before the war find themselves going on a voyage from Sydney. I tend to be a little wary of World War fictions because I've read a couple of them. They have been so splendid and so commendably written that I don't know if I'd like others. I don't know what that kind of apprehension is called, but I think that's just the idea that has prevented me from picking up more of them. But something about the premise of this novel, it just grabbed my attention. So I wanted to see how Jojo Moyes works the romance angle into the blanket of a topic that is so heavy in itself, that is, war and sacrifice. And the last book is The Heart Goes Last by Margaret Atwood, ending this unboxing with an Atwood book. So on brand. So this is a science fiction dystopian novel which is about a couple who is trying to survive a time of economic and social collapse. They live in their car trying to make their ends meet, and one day they come across a project known as the Positron Project, which offers them temporary respite from everything that's going on. But they learn it the hard way that this project also comes with a catch, as most things do. I think by now you would see what I mean when I say that Atwood's writing is just out of this world. Where does she come up with these plots from? She is such an inspiration for me as a writer myself. I like to think big, I like to think out of the box, and I think a lot of that comes from what I've read of Atwood's writing. So that concludes my Lock the Box sale unboxing videos. It has been a gala time shopping during the sale and then unboxing it and then even picking up books to read from this file. If you've had the chance to explore the Lock the Box sale, then let me know what your experience was like. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye!